Hello, everybody. So I have some exciting news to share. In case you didn't already guess just by my background, I am starting my own podcast. So the podcast is called Lane One Making Waves. For those of you who know me, I was a distance swimmer, and for any of my fellow distance swimmers out there, you know that lane 1 or lane 10, those are the lanes that we were in. So it's just kind of my tribute to all my distance swimmers out there. So kind of getting into it, I'm very excited for this podcast. It's something that's been in the works for a little bit now, something that I've kind of always dreamed of doing, just to bring more awareness to the sport and have a place just of open and honest communication, transparency, and talks about how we can grow the sport and how I can help the swimming community and give back through my own experiences. So, with this podcast, we're going to dive deep into all aspects of swimming, both in the water and also out of the water, because some of the most important aspects of the sport actually happen outside of practice. So I'm talking about nutrition, sports psychology, mental health, social media, how that can impact you as an athlete, in kind of the whole realm of swimming. So we're going to be talking about things relevant for age group swimmers, high school swimmers, for those of you who are in college navigating the NIL, professional athletes, coaches, triathletes, biathletes, and pretty much just anyone who has an interest in the sport of swimming. So a little bit about myself. For those of you who don't know, my name is Summer Finke, and I come from a very, very deep background in the sport of swimming. I am a middle child, so I do have a little bit of that middle child syndrome in me. I have an older sister. Her name is Autumn Fink. She swam at the University of Florida. She was a distance swimmer, and now she is a lawyer. Don't ask me anything about law. Please refer to her. And then I also have a younger brother. His name is Robert Fink. We like to call him Bobby. He is probably the more famous one of the siblings, most recently setting a world record in the men's 1500 freestyle in Paris. He has 3 gold medals, 1 silver medal, and is kind of taking the sibling rivalry to a whole new extreme. But this podcast is not about them. A little bit about my experiences in the sport. I grew up swimming when I was 5 years old. Immediately fell in love with the water. I love how swimming just gives you a clear mind, and also it's something that is an individual sport as well as a team sport. I had a lot of success when I was younger. I qualified for my first Olympic trials when I was 13 and went to Olympic trials at the very young age of 15, where I was immediately overwhelmed. I committed to swim in college. I did my freshman year at Florida State University, and then I actually decided to transfer. So as a distance swimmer, I had to swim for a semester by myself where I was in between transferring, which was very, very challenging. Went home and swam with St. Pete Aquatics, my home club team, for a year, and then transferred to North Carolina State University, where I finished out my career with Coach Mark Bernardino, who has a very, very special place in my heart. I always knew that sports was something that had my whole passion. I love how it can bring people together. I love how it's kind of a little microcosm society in itself. And also the swimming world is so connected. It is so small. If you mention that you swim and you meet another swimmer, odds are you have something in common or you have a mutual friend in common. So I love that aspect of the sport. I got my undergraduate degree in sport management, and I knew that was not enough for me. So I got my master's degree in sport management with a specialization in athlete development at the University of Florida. I know my sister swam at UF, my brother swam at UF. I tried to get away, but I guess I came back to UF. While I was getting my degree, I was also a manager for the men's swimming and diving program there. So I helped with a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, making sure that everyone was getting their water during practice, making sure the towers were set up, apparel, food orders for meets. So I got a lot of experience there, and I also was a part-time age group coach. So I got to work with some really, really cool young swimmers and kind of develop my passion there. I needed a little bit of a break from the sport. I think when I graduated, it really took a toll on me. You kind of have your whole life wrapped up in the swimming world, and then within one split second, you touch the wall and it kind of feels like it's all over. So I took a chance to figure out who I am without the sport. I worked at the University of Tampa, the University of South Florida, but then I always just kind of kept gravitating back towards the sport and using my past experiences to help the future generation. I think that there's a lot of talk out there, but there seems to be a lack of awareness and a lack of transparency about those hard topics. So that's something that I'm really passionate about, navigating your identity beyond swimming and how that can ultimately help you become a better person, and then ultimately leads back to swimming, help you compete faster as well. So why this podcast? Because swimming is more than just laps in a pool. Like I said, it's a whole community. There are so many aspects to swimming that happen outside of the water. And I want to just build a platform of knowledge, growth, and transparency to help the future generation, to help coaches, and just use my background to kind of be that change in the sport. So with this podcast, we're going to have guest appearances every other week. So we're going to air episodes bi-weekly. We're going to have nutritionists, age group coaches, top NCAA coaches. We're going to have professional athletes, trying to touch on all aspects of the swimming realm. Some of them you may know, so stay tuned. We're going to be on all social media platforms, so I will be sure to link our YouTube, our Instagram, our Facebook, so that you can follow along with what's going on, and also so that you can ask questions. I really want this to be a space for everybody. So if you have any questions, if you have anyone that you want to see on the podcast, I would love to hear it, because I really want this to be a space for everyone. It's not just me, it's the whole community. So that is really my goal with it. So this is kind of the initial episode to get things rocking and rolling. Next week, we are going to have a special interview with none other than Joe Fink. That's my dad. So his background as being a parent in the sport, how he helped raise 3 kids, traveling down to St. Pete Aquatics from Clearwater, which is about a 30 to 45 minute drive depending on the day. And then also how he navigated the twists and turns for each of our swimming careers, whether it was age group swimming up until the most recent success, my brother's Olympic record and world record. So subscribe, share to your friends, and join me next time as we take this journey together. Thank you. Bet you thought I was done talking. One last thing. I want to give a huge shout out to the International Swim Coaches Association. These are the platforms where the podcast is going to be linked. So follow along on ISCA's Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube account to stay up to date on all things Lane 1 Making Waves related. Thank you.